Let's do the road to glory. But first, before we do the road to glory, I need to make a phone call. Bob, hey, what you said your physicals was gonna be on your DN for road to glory?
I think it might be a 6'4", 220.
6'4", 220?
Yeah.
Alright, 6'4", 220. Okay. I could have sworn he said.
They honestly got some really big overhauls for college football 27.
Right, let's go.
EA added new positions.
New position. That's what I just called my partner about. The new position everybody talking about.
They got some really big overhauls for college football 27. EA
is edge and free safety. Them was the really. I think that they added tight end too, right? I think I'm gonna make me a tight end. Yeah, I ain't gonna care. I think I'm gonna make a tight end. But they added 3 new positions: tight end, edge, and free safety.
Added new positions.
What happened to the strong safety? They just free safety.
Rebuilt player creation from the ground up, introduced new things like NFL draft projections,
right
rebuilt
there,
player.
You get to see your speed, what your speed gonna be. Oh, when I make my running back, I'm going max speed.
Creation from the ground up,
Easy.
introduced new things like NFL draft projections, changed progression, and they even overhauled things like practice, fitness, and off-field decisions. But after reading through all of the details in the deep dive, I think there's one thing that stands out above everything else. For the first time in a long time, Road to Glory finally feels like it's trying to be about your entire football journey, not just simply becoming a 99 overall. This year, EA seems to be pushing much harder into the idea that every decision has consequences, not just on the field, but off the field as well. EA Sports said that the entire focus of Road to Glory this year is managing your potential. Now that sounds like marketing speak at first, at least that's what I think when I hear that, but when you actually look at all the systems they've added, it does look like it makes a lot of sense here. Throughout your career, you'll be managing things like your NFL draft projection, your legacy score, your fitness level, your academics, your leadership, your personal brand, your relationship with coaches, and even the wear and tear your body accumulates over multiple seasons. So if you're a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, you're going to arrive on campus with huge expectations. Maybe you're projected as a future first-round pick before you ever take a snap. But that projection isn't guaranteed. If you perform well, it can rise. If you struggle, get hurt, make bad decisions, or simply don't develop the way people expected, it can fall. And I love that they...
What's y'all first Road to Glory bill in college football 27?
Track this through the entire this year. And hey, if you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with the rest of the college football 27 news and the exclusive videos I'm going to be dropping very soon on all of the different modes and gameplay, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss them when they go live. So let's get into the real details of Road to Glory. We've got to start with player creation and new positions because that is probably the biggest news. We finally got new positions after so many years, and we got multiple new ones. The first thing you'll notice in Road to Glory is it now includes 3 new positions. You can be a tight end, an edge rusher, or free safety, which are the 3 most requested positions that were not previously available. I think after this, people might want to still have a kicker or an offensive lineman, but we really have...
You get the strength. Oh, you get skill points like you creating a player in 2K. See, I'm thinking it's going off your... It probably do go based off your height and weight. But you get to add the points. You get to spend your points.
A lot of the most popular ones in the game now, which
is...
Now, when it comes to tight end, you can build anything from a receiving threat that stretches the field to a complete blocker that dominates in the run game. On defense, edge rusher gives players an entirely new way to experience Road to Glory. Instead of reading coverages or playing linebacker, you're focused on attacking offensive tackles, getting after the quarterback, and becoming the guy that offenses have to game plan around every week. And then there's free safety, which is probably the most requested position overall. It is an old school favorite that people love to play, and I'm glad we've got that back. But as cool as the new positions are, I think the bigger story here is EA redesigned player creation itself. Because gone are the days of simply choosing an archetype and being locked into it. Now you're essentially building your player ceiling from the ground up. The process starts at your physique. You'll choose things like your height, your weight, your body type, but these aren't just cosmetic decisions anymore. Every choice impacts what your player can realistically become. For example, a larger player might have access to higher strength, power, and physical ratings. A smaller player might have access to higher speed.
This shit crazy, bro. This shit crazy, bro. You see what I'm saying, bro? Like, this shit is crazy, bro. Like,
acceleration, agility, and movement traits. You can build a freak athlete, you can build a physical monster, but you probably can't build both at the same time. Those kind of players are really rare. Then comes in
I'm
max
talking about, I need
potential,
my
and this is
tight
where
end to
things
get-
get interesting. Think of your physique as determining what's physically possible, and then think
I
of
need
your
my
max
tight end to
potential as
get
determining
pancake
what your
blocks
player
and
can
then
actually
pancake
become.
blocks
So
and
let's say your
touchdown.
build allows
What
for
a better
95 speed.
combination.
That doesn't automatically
Pancake
mean
block,
you'll reach
touchdown.
95 speed.
Pancake
You still have to
block,
decide how
touchdown.
much of your potential you're investing
Touchdown.
into that attribute. Maybe you allocate enough points to eventually reach a 92, maybe you push it all the way to 95. Every choice comes with trade-offs somewhere else, and because of that, your build starts to take shape naturally. And what's really cool is your archetype is no longer something you manually select. The game actually determines your archetype based on the attributes you invest in. So maybe you start building a quarterback that you think is going to be a pocket passer, but then you keep investing points into things like mobility and athleticism. Suddenly the game starts recognizing you as a dual threat quarterback instead. Now, if you don't want to build everything from scratch, EA is also introducing legend templates. These are preset builds inspired by some of the greatest college football players ever. Names like Tim Tebow, Vince Young, Reggie Bush, and others. So for the first time, it feels like you're not just creating a player, you're creating a career path, and the decisions you make during creation are going to impact everything that happens afterward. Now that brings us to cap breakers and mental abilities. Once you've created a player and set your max potential, that doesn't necessarily mean those limits are permanent, because in College Football 27, it introduces something called cap breakers. And this is one of the smartest additions they've made. When creating your player, you're essentially setting the ceiling for what that player can become. But what happens if your player ends up having a legendary college career? What happens if you win the Heisman Trophy or become an All-American? Or if you win multiple national championships? According to EA, players can now earn cap breakers throughout their career that allow them to push beyond the ceilings they originally set during creation. In total, you'll be able to earn up to 25 cap breakers over the course of your career. These are earned through
25 cap breakers, bro. Like, Road to Glory is finna be a grind. Like, you literally had to grind.
major accomplishments like winning the Heisman, becoming an All-American, so on and so forth. You can apply those cap breakers directly to specific attributes and raise their caps beyond what you typically allocated. So let's say you build a quarterback with a cap of 92 throw power. Normally that's where your development would stop, but if you have an incredible career and earn enough cap breakers, you may be able to push that ceiling higher. And the thing is, a lot of sports games eventually run into the same problem where all of the builds kind of start to just feel too similar. Everybody will figure out a meta and everybody builds the same player. But with the cap breakers, this does create a possibility for truly rare players. Now, while cap breakers are focused on your long-term development, mental abilities are focused on something completely different. They're focused on your life away from the football field. When creating your player, you'll choose 3 mental abilities, one tied to academics, one to leadership, and one to your brand. And these aren't just passive abilities that stay active forever. This is where things get kind of interesting because each mental ability is directly connected to a weekly agenda system. That means if you neglect one of these areas throughout your career, the ability can actually deactivate. For example, let's say you're using a mental ability tied to academics. If your academic meter falls too low because you're constantly ignoring your schoolwork, that ability can become inactive until your grades get back up. In previous Road to Glory modes, it sometimes felt like the weekly activities were just something you clicked through before getting into the football. This year, those decisions appear to matter a lot more. If you want the benefits that come with your mental abilities, you're going to have to maintain a lifestyle required to keep them active. And just like physical abilities, mental abilities can also be upgraded throughout your career. They begin at bronze and can eventually progress all the way to platinum. Now that brings us into starting high school, and this is a lot of people's favorite part of the mode, honestly. But I have to say right out of the gate, they have not expanded high school this year, which is something I thought they would do. It's not a full season, it's still a few games where you're playing moments, but they have made it a little better from what it sounds. The biggest thing to understand is that high school is no longer just about earning your stars this year. It revolves more around the tape score this time around. Every play you make, every objective you complete, and every big moment you create contributes to how schools evaluate you as a prospect. The better your tape looks, the more interest you'll generate from programs around the country. The high school season consists of 5 games with multiple playable moments during each game. Before every game, you'll choose what moments you want to participate in, much like last year. Each moment comes with objectives tied to your position and the situation you're entering. Maybe you're driving your team down the field on a game-winning score. Maybe you're protecting a lead. Maybe you're creating pressure as an edge rusher or forcing a turnover in a critical moment. The cool thing this year is the objectives are more designed to make sense contextually. Instead of random challenges, they're meant to reflect the actual situation you're stepping into. And one of my favorite additions here is something called expanded team impacts. In previous Road to Glory modes, it often felt like you only got rewarded for completing exactly what the game asked you to do. But this year, EA says you'll get more credit for simply making football plays, which is definitely good. Even if a big play isn't one of your objectives, it can still improve your tape score. Maybe you break off a 30-yard run, throw a deep touchdown, force a fumble, something like that. Those moments still matter, and they should, because last year it felt like big plays didn't really matter. It was all about the objective.
They got
now
3
both
yards,
kind of work together, which makes sense.
XP. What do
And
you
another
mean?
cool tidbit here that I wasn't fully expecting is they expanded the team builder integration. Players can now replace high school teams, opponents, and even college programs throughout Road to Glory using team builder. In total, you can replace up to 16 teams throughout your football world. So if you've built custom schools, fictional rivals, local programs, or completely unique football universes, you'll be able to integrate those directly into your Road to Glory experience. And what's really cool is those team builder schools can recruit you. That means you can receive a scholarship offer from custom created programs and begin your college career there. That's honestly a super awesome thing they included in there. Now, eventually, your performances in high school start turning into something every player is chasing, the scholarship offers, of course. As schools evaluate your tape score and decide whether you're worth pursuing, EA has made recruiting information
and I might
much
make
easier to
IMG
understand.
and whoever
You're able to
IMG
compare
play.
things like
I'm gonna go
projected
play
depth
for
chart
IMG.
positions, scholarship bonuses, academics, leadership opportunities,
And I
brand
might put
opportunities,
Teddy Bridgewater School in there.
skill
And
point
then go play
bonuses, and
whoever they
other
play.
factors.
That's
It's
a
all about
W.
finding the best fit for your player. Maybe one
I
school
like that.
offers
I like
immediate
that.
playing time, maybe
That's
another
an
has a
idea.
stronger
That's a video
scholarship
idea.
package.
Hey, I'm Nathan.
W
Fair
Nate.
warning,
I mean,
I'm
Nathan.
very skeptical of most trading tools. So
Come on, man, get out the way.
But the really interesting change, though, is how scholarships work once you commit, because scholarships are no longer a one-time reward, they're annual. And I think this is one of the smartest additions they've made to Road to Glory. In previous years, once you picked a school, that decision was basically over. Now your scholarship becomes part of an ongoing relationship with the program. At the end of every season, your school will reevaluate you and determine what kind of scholarship package they're willing to offer moving forward. If you're performing well, handling your responsibilities, and developing
so
as a
you can-
player,
your
the school
stuff
may
can
reward
change.
you with an even bigger bonus.
Oh,
But if
it
you're
can be
struggling or
bigger,
making poor
or it can be
decisions, that
smaller.
offer can change too. And I really like that
Okay.
because it creates accountability throughout your entire career. It really
Right,
creates a
right,
journey
right,
here.
right,
The
right.
school continues investing in you, but you also have to prove you're worth that investment. And this is really just the beginning, because once you step on
I'm
campus,
sorry, guys.
everything changes. The recruiting
Shout out
rankings
TJB,
and the stars
man.
next to your name stop
Next.
mattering. Now you got to live up to the expectations.
Hey,
Now
you
once
know,
you're in
you-
college,
hey,
this
you
is where
know,
some
you
of the
know,
other
you-
important changes come into play. Draft projection and legacy score. And I really think that these two systems might completely change how people approach their careers. With draft projection, the easiest way to think about
One
this
of these
is the
might
football
pick that
world's
up.
opinion on your future. The
Don't
moment you
pick that
arrive
up,
on
Mike.
campus, you're given an initial projection based on who you are as a recruit. If you're a 5-star prospect, you're entering college with massive expectations, as you should. In fact, EA says that 5-star recruits will generally arrive carrying first-round expectations. But those expectations aren't
I'm making
guaranteed,
me a
they're just
5-star,
projections, and projections can change literally
4-star,
every single
3-star. I
week.
gotta
Your
do
draft
all-
day
I'm gonna
projection
do
is
all the
constantly
stars.
evaluated based on your on-field performance, your overall rating, your development, your achievements, your off-field decisions, your wear and tear, and your legacy score. You might arrive as a first-round pick, and if you dominate, win awards, and lead your team to championships and continue developing, your stock can rise and you could become like the first overall pick, for example. But the opposite can happen. If you struggle and you make those poor decisions, or you get buried on the depth chart or anything like that, your projection is going to start falling. One thing I find especially interesting is the role that wear and tear plays, because NFL teams aren't just evaluating talent, they're evaluating your durability. A player might be incredibly talented, but if they've accumulated significant damage throughout their career, pro teams may view them as a riskier prospect. So you're not just managing your performance, you're also just managing your entire future. Every decision has consequences, every season matters, and you'll be able to track your draft stock projection throughout this entire career. There's even going to be a projection graph that shows how your stock changes over time. Maybe a rivalry win will cause your stock to spike, maybe a Heisman season sends it soaring, but an injury or suspension can cause it to fall. And the game will track all those moments and show you how they impacted your journey. And then that brings us to the legacy score. While the draft projection focuses on your future, the legacy score focuses on your past. It's essentially measuring the impact you've had on college football. Your score is built throughout everything you accomplished during your career: winning championships, breaking records, taking home awards, creating memorable moments. All of those things build into your legacy. And I think that's a pretty cool distinction, because draft projections ask, how does the NFL view you, while legacy score asks, what kind of college
I had to make sure I was still recording, boy. I was gonna be sick.
football player were you?
What?
And those aren't always the same thing. Some players have
man,
incredible
good.
college
I'm
careers but
recording,
aren't
man.
elite NFL
I'm gonna
prospects.
be
We see this all the
sick.
time.
I'm
Others
talking
become
about-
highly rated NFL prospects without accomplishing nearly as much at the college level. Road to Glory is now tracking both. And EA is even allowing you to compare your career against legendary players at your position. And to me, this is where the mode starts feeling less like traditional career mode and more like you're creating an actual football story, because you're not just chasing like a ratings boost anymore. You got to chase your accomplishments, your championships, records, and just greatness overall. And as cool as all that sounds, none of it comes easy, because once the season starts, you still have to balance football with your academics, your fitness, your leadership, and everything else. And that's where the weekly agenda starts playing a much bigger role than ever before.
I don't lie, y'all, it's like 6 minutes left. I hope I don't miss nothing important in those last 6 minutes. But hold on. Let's see it.
Rivalry performances, awards, change hope for the best. If you start early, banish good football situations rather than feeling like isolated mini games. Some are going to be team focus drills, like you might coach trust, improve coach happiness, and continue.
Yeah. I think we got the drill, bro. Shout out Eric Mayweather, bro, for all this valuable information about the game. And Road to Glory look like it's gonna be a movie, bro. Like, I'm really just ready to go create a player. Like, you all seen the stream? It look like you create a player in 2K, bro. It's like a W, bro. Like, I like it right there. Alright, last but not least, bro, Dynasty. And Dynasty is 22 minutes. Alright, we gotta do it. I'm gonna take a little break and come back, cause we've been recording for 44 minutes.